Hey everyone, welcome to another video by Dollarlabs. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the global settings, right? And basically going through each of these settings in more detail, right? So I'll just pull up our escalator, which basically has a little bit of all these settings and what each one of them does, right? So the first setting is let me zoom in a little bit. The first setting is basically what to base the cashback on. So if you have rules which go a little like 5% of the entire order, right? What you can actually do here is that you can set it on either the order total, or you can also choose to give the cashback on the order subtotal. So the order subtotal is actually exclusive of discounts, discounts as in the discount codes that are applied. So you can use that or this one. So right now I have it set to order total, but just note that it will change which variable is used when you're calculating all of these logics, right? Any logic that you use on the app, it basically takes that into account. So the only place where it doesn't take that into account is when you have it set to give a fixed amount or a percentage on a specific product. In that case, we don't take this order total or order subtotal into account, because you cannot base the cashback on the order total itself, because it's based on the product itself, right? So that's why this won't come into picture for that. That's a quick explanation for that. Now coming into next one, which is basically the store credit visibility. So we allow you to configure sort of a function, right, where you can show or hide the store credit based on certain conditions. So by default, it's set to always show the store credit on every payment as long as the customer is logged in. So if I'm logged in as a customer on the store, I should be able to see the store credit at any point. So let me just check if I'm logged in. So in my case, I am logged in, and if I have a little bit of store credit, I do have a little bit of store credit, right? So I can go ahead and make a purchase and it should show up on my checkout. So if I go here, it seems that I'm not exactly logged in. So time to log in. Yeah. Now it shows up the store credit. Now what you can actually do is you can also set up a rule, which is basically like if the cart total or subtotal is greater than certain amount, right? So in my case, we can say that if it's only greater than $1,000, only then show the store credit as a payment method option, right? So only then the customer can actually leverage the store credit. So as you can see, it just disappeared. So that's because I am incentivizing my customers to place an order which is above $1,000. You can set any amount here, and based on that, only certain parts of the store credit will be shown. Only based on the conditions it will be shown. So that's basically what it does. So now that I've increased my order total to greater than $1,000, it now shows up the apply store credit button over here. Now that's that. The next part is really important. So this basically sets how or when you want to give the cashback to the customer. By default, it's set to order created. So whenever the customer or even the admin places an order, a draft order is converted to an order on the store, that's when the cashback is credited to the customer, right? You can also set it to orders fulfilled. So what that means is that whenever you fulfill or mark an order as fulfilled, so if I go here and mark it as fulfilled, only then the store credit is given, right? The next part is when order is paid. So basically what that means is that if you have some sort of partial payment or I don't know, some sort of a payment method which basically takes some time to credit that and confirm the payment process, right? So in that case, you can set it to orders paid. So that basically what that means is that only when the order is fully paid by the customer and it shows up in the paid status over here, only then the cashback is credited to the customer. Now what you can also do is you can also add a delay that is configurable here. What this delay does is it basically adds a little bit of delay between when when this happens plus H days from then, right? So that's basically what this does. Now what you can also do is after this, you can also include choose to include shipping costs when calculating cashback. So if you have this unchecked, it will basically remove it. So it works in the inverse way as well. So if you have order total, right, what it does is it will basically include the shipping cost if you have this enabled. If you are choosing order subtotal, basically what it will do is that it will add shipping costs to the subtotal, right? If you don't have it enabled, it will remove it. So that's basically what this particular setting does. Now, the next one is round up cashback to the nearest whole number. What this means is that right now, if you see here on my cart or even on the product page, so if you can note that right now I have this enabled. So what this means is that it will round it up to the nearest whole number. So in my case, that's $214. But if I disable this and if I hit save, and it might take a little bit of time to save. Yeah, just give it a little bit and let's just reload the cart. Yeah. Now basically what should happen, and we might need to give it a little bit of time because configuration changes take a little bit of time to reflect on the storefront. You can note that now it started showing in decimal points, right? $213.74. So that's the difference between in what this does. It will basically round it up to the nearest whole number and strip that decimal point away, right? So that makes things a little simpler. If you don't want to do it, you can just disable this option. Now next comes one of the more important setting. So this basically decides what happens when you as a customer use store credit on an order, right? So the first option is that if I use store credit, don't give me any rewards on that order. So that's a very different approach, right? So you don't give the customer any reward on the store credit if they place an order using store credit, right? Now the second one is that you can give customer the cashback based on the full order amount, which means that store credit is not taken into account. If they use store credit as a payment method, that is not counted. It just takes all the other values into picture, discounts and everything, and then gives a store credit store credit based on that. The last part is really important. So basically what it does is it will so let's say I have $180, right? It will basically disburse that $180 across the entire items that I have based on the weight, as in like the cost of each item, and disperse it based on that. So and it smartly allocates and reduces amount from each item and then gives cashback based on the reduced amount. So basically exactly what the customer has paid minus the store credit minus any discounts, and then it gives the cashback. So it's a very useful setting to have. By default, this is the default. You can choose any other option based on what you want to do. Now the next part is basically automatic refund or cancellation of any rewards that are given. So what we have now added recently is that we now have a state where if you want, you can basically set up this checkbox to be enabled. And what it will do is that if any of my orders are marked as refunded, right, it will delete or deduct the cashback from the customer's account for that particular order. So all the cashback details are on the order actually stored here, right? So in this case, the cashback amount in this case was $71. It will go ahead and when I refund this order, so if I go ahead and place a refund, let's just see if this is enabled. Let's me reload. Perfect. Yes, this is enabled. So if I go ahead and refund this order, let's say I refunded this. Perfect. Regardless of what amount it is refunded, what will happen to this customer is now the system will go in and basically deduct that dollar amount that we have already given us cashback from the customer's account. So $71 will get removed. You can see that it actually just removed $71 from the customer. So that's how this works. So it's basically an automated way of handling it. So right now it doesn't take into account any partial stages, right? So maybe you have multiple items and only one of the items was refunded. It will basically deduct the entire amount from the customer. We will plan to add that in a future update, but that's how this works right now. Next is basically sender email name. So where this comes into picture is when you have notifications set up on the app. So notifications set up on the app, inbuilt notifications, right? They are sent via notifications.dollarlabs.io. Basically what that is it's the configuration or SMTP that we use to send notifications to our customers. It's a very transactional email only focused endpoint, right? So no spam on that email address. And basically what you can configure is how your email will show up to your customers, right? So that's what you can configure, and basically it will show up in the title of that email, say that, hey, this is from Dollar Labs, right? So that's what this you can configure here. Now the last part is very straightforward. It basically allows you to set a list of customers based on certain tags, right? So let's say if you have a certain customer who is potentially abusing your store or something, so you can go ahead and say that, hey, I marked this customer as no store credit, right? So you can give it any tag here, so something like no credit, right? And you can just enter that here. So basically if that tag is present on the customer, then there will be no store credit given to that customer. So it's a very simple configuration. So, and it allows you to ensure that nobody is abusing a store credit program, and if you have a set of abusers, you can always take care of them. So that's a deep dive into the settings of the app and what all options we provide on the store-wide settings or advanced settings, and how they interact with the different programs as well. So yeah, if you found this video helpful, feel free to leave a comment, or if you have any questions, feel free to ask us or reach out to us if you have any doubts, and we'll be happy to help. Hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please like and share, and yeah, do the usual YouTube things. Thank you. Bye bye.